Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a man stuck in your head like a song you didn't even like, but you couldn't stop humming? You go about your day, you handle your business, but somewhere in the back of your mind, he's just there. And yet he hasn't called, he hasn't texted, no message, no nothing. But somehow he's always on your mind. You know, a lot of times when somebody is on your mind all the time, we tend to think, oh, this must be love. This must be something special. This has to mean something big. But let me help you out with something real quick. Just because someone is always in your thoughts doesn't automatically mean it's love. It might mean something deeper is going on, something you haven't healed from, something unresolved inside of you. See, real love is not just thinking about somebody all day. Love is action. Love is clarity. Love is peaceful. When you're really in love, you don't feel confused, anxious, or unsure all the time. You don't lie awake at night wondering if you're good enough or if they care. Real love doesn't sit in silence while you cry yourself to sleep trying to figure out why they ain't calling. That ain't love. That's attachment. That's hope. And sometimes that's trauma speaking. Some people stay on your mind not because they're your soulmate, but because they're tied to a part of you that still needs healing. Maybe it's the way they made you feel seen in the beginning. Maybe they gave you just enough attention to make you crave more. Maybe you saw a future with them in your mind, and now you can't shake it, even though the reality never matched. And so you keep going back to those memories, replaying conversations, thinking of all the what ifs and maybes. But deep down, it ain't about love. It's about closure. It's about your heart trying to finish a sentence that he left hanging. You see, when somebody ghosts you or stops talking to you for no reason or leaves things unfinished, that's not romance. That's emotional confusion. And confusion ain't a sign from God that this person is the one. No, ma'am. Sometimes the reason they're always on your mind is because your heart is searching for answers you never got. And your mind is trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. You're trying to make sense of the silence, trying to find meaning in mixed signals, trying to understand why someone who meant so much to you treated you like you didn't matter. That ain't love. That's pain talking. That's a wound that didn't get a proper bandage. And let me be real with you. Some of us, we mistake longing for love. Just because you miss someone doesn't mean they were good for you. Just because you can't stop thinking about them doesn't mean they're supposed to be in your life. Sometimes your mind is stuck because your heart never got a proper goodbye. But listen, don't confuse the incomplete with the important. Just because the chapter didn't close the way you want it doesn't mean you need to keep rereading it. And here's the kicker. A lot of times, it's not even him you're missing. It's the way you felt when he was around. It's the validation, the thrill, the hope, the excitement of potential. And when that's gone, your mind keeps trying to bring it back because that high felt good. But you got to ask yourself, was it real? Or was it just familiar? Was it love? Or was it you settling for moments that felt good because you didn't believe you deserved more? I'm telling you, thinking about him all the time doesn't mean you're in love. It couldn't mean there's a space inside you that needs to be filled with something real, not with him, but with truth, with healing, with self-worth. You don't need him to come back and explain. You don't need his words to move forward. You need to understand that your thoughts aren't proof of destiny. They're often just echoes of what hasn't been healed yet. You're not crazy for thinking about him. You're human. But don't let your thoughts trick you into believing that this person is your future just because they're stuck in your head. Sometimes what's lingering in your mind is simply a lesson in disguise, a reminder of what to never accept again. Let me tell you something straight up. A man's silence is never empty. It speaks volumes. See, some women get caught up waiting for a man to say the right thing, explain his feelings, tell you where he stands. But what you've got to understand is what a man doesn't say is just as powerful as what he does say. When a man chooses silence, that is communication. He's saying something. The problem is too many women don't want to hear what that silence is really telling them. You sitting there wondering, why hasn't he called me back? Or why does it take him 2 days to answer a simple text? Baby, let me be honest with you. When a man really wants to talk to you, he finds a way. He doesn't care how busy his job is. He doesn't care if he's tired. He doesn't care if he's stressed. When a man wants to keep you in his life, he will make sure you feel like you belong in it. And if he's not doing that, that silence is him saying loud and clear, you're not my priority right now. Now, I know that's hard to hear because silence makes us hope. It leaves room for the imagination. It creates this space where we can tell ourselves stories like maybe he's shy, or maybe he's scared of his feelings, or maybe he doesn't know how to express himself. But here's the truth. A man who wants you will figure it out. Men are problem solvers. If he can figure out how to fix his car, how to work 10 hours a day, how to catch the big game on time, he can figure out how to pick up the phone and call you. Silence is not a mystery. It's a message. Some of y'all are out here trying to translate a man's silence like it's some kind of love language. You're analyzing texts, rereading conversations, talking to your girls about what he might be thinking. But let me ask you this, why are you doing all the work if you've got to become an investigator just to know where you stand with somebody? You already got your answer. You're not in a relationship. You're in a guessing game, and you deserve better than that. Silence is a decision. When he doesn't call, that's a decision. When he disappears for days and pops up like nothing happened, that's a decision. When he ignores your efforts, that's a decision. Stop waiting for him to explain and start accepting the explanation his silence is already giving you. He's showing you who he is. The question is, do you believe him? See, men are not as complicated as y'all think. We're direct. We do what we want. If we want you, we'll tell you. If we're serious, we'll show you. And if we're not ready or we're not into it, we'll pull back. Not always with words, but with silence. That silence is not a void for you to fill with your hopes. It's a message for you to read with your eyes open and your heart strong. You have to stop giving men credit they haven't earned. Just because you feel a connection doesn't mean he feels obligated to nurture it. Just because you're emotionally invested doesn't mean he's committed. A man's silence can teach you a lot about his character, how he handles you, how he respects your time, how much he values your heart. Silence will show you whether you're being pursued or being paused. Don't let your need for closure keep you tied to a man who closed the door with his silence a long time ago. You don't need him to spell it out. The silence you keep hearing, that's the end of the sentence. That's the answer. That's him telling you without saying a word where you really stand. Now the only question is, are you willing to listen? Let me make something real clear to every woman listening. You deserve clarity, not confusion. Period. See, one of the biggest traps women fall into is thinking that love is supposed to be complicated. That if things are confusing, if you're constantly wondering what he's thinking, if you're always trying to figure out where you stand, that must mean it's deep, it's real, it's passionate. No, that ain't love. That's emotional chaos. And you don't need to live in confusion just to prove you care about somebody. Clarity is not a luxury in a relationship, it's the foundation. And if you don't have clarity, you don't have peace. A man who really wants to be with you will not leave you questioning your worth every other day. He will not have you guessing if you're important, wondering why he disappeared, or stressing over why he treats you differently around his friends. A real man gives you answers, not anxiety. You shouldn't have to decode his actions like you're solving a mystery. This ain't a detective show. This is your life, your heart, your emotional well-being. Now listen, confusion comes when actions and words don't line up. You ever had a man tell you he cares about you, but he never shows up? You ever hear him say he's just figuring things out, but somehow he's on Instagram liking every other girl's pictures and living his life like he's single? That's confusion. And too many women settle for that because they don't want to seem too needy or too emotional. But here's the truth. It's not needy to ask for consistency. It's not too much to want to know where you stand. It's not crazy to want a man who's clear about his intentions. Ladies, if you're always confused in a relationship, that's not love. That's a lack of leadership. A good man leads with certainty. He's not going to make you feel like an option while telling you you're the one. He's not going to pull you close one day and push you away the next. A man like that is playing with your mind whether he knows it or not. And you're not a toy, you're a treasure. You don't belong in some emotional game where the rules keep changing. You deserve a relationship where you wake up feeling secure, not questioning everything you felt the night before. And let me say this, sometimes the confusion doesn't come from him. Sometimes it comes from you ignoring what's right in front of you. Because when you want something bad enough, your heart will start creating excuses for a man's behavior. You'll tell yourself, he's just scared. He's just busy. He's just taking it slow. But the truth is, if you're confused more than you're confident in that relationship, you already have your answer. Clarity feels like peace. It feels like knowing someone has your back. It feels like someone checking in because they care, not disappearing because they can. It feels like having real conversations, not one-word answers. It feels like a man showing up, not showing off when it's convenient. If you don't have that, you're not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong man. You were not made to live in confusion. You were made to be loved fully, openly, and honestly. And the right man, when he comes along, will not keep you in the dark. He'll make sure you know how he feels. He'll make sure you never have to guess. Because when a man is sure about you, he makes it easy. And let me tell you something. Love is not supposed to be a question mark. It's supposed to be an exclamation point. Let's get something straight right now. When a man truly wants you, he's going to show it. His effort will match your energy, not your hopes, not your dreams, not what you wish he would do. It's going to match your reality. The way you show up, the way you care, the way you give. If he's the right one, he's going to meet you right there with the same level of consistency, with the same amount of energy, and with the same kind of heart. Now, see, a lot of women fall into this trap where they start filling in the blanks. They're giving everything they've got, time, love, patience, attention, and they barely getting crumbs back. But they hold on because of the potential they see. The imagination starts running wild. You start thinking, if I keep showing him how good I am, maybe he'll change. Or maybe he's just going through something right now. Maybe next week, next month, he'll step up. But let me tell you something about men. We don't need convincing. A man who wants you doesn't need time to be sure. He might need time to plan, to build, to prepare, but to want you, he knows. And if he knows, he acts on it. He doesn't let you sit around guessing. He doesn't leave you pouring out your soul while he gives you silence or half-hearted effort. That man will show up and meet you where you are. Because when a man wants a woman, he doesn't just match her words, he matches her energy. What you got to stop doing is dating off of potential. Potential doesn't love you back. Potential doesn't make phone calls. Potential doesn't plan dates. Potential doesn't text you good morning or check to see how your day went. Potential is a maybe, and a maybe is not a promise. What matters is effort. Is he consistent? Does he communicate? Does he care about how you feel? Is he putting in the time and energy to make you feel safe, seen, and valued? Too many women are in relationships that only exist in their minds. The man is giving you the bare minimum, and you're doing emotional gymnastics trying to make sense of it. Well, he did call me once last week. That's something, right? No, that's not something. That's not enough. Not for the kind of love you're built for. Not for the kind of woman you are. You're showing up like a wife while he's acting like a guest. You deserve more than that. You have to stop letting your imagination do his job. Love is not about fantasy. It's about reality. You can't keep pretending a man is giving when he's really just taking. You can't keep hoping he'll show up tomorrow when he didn't even respect your today. If you keep giving to someone who isn't matching your energy, you're not being patient, you're being drained. Effort is not hard to see. A man who wants you will be intentional. He will take initiative. You won't have to remind him how to treat you. He'll know, and he'll do it not because he has to, but because he wants to. Because you matter to him, because you're a priority, because you're not just another option. You're his choice. And if his actions don't line up with that, if you're always the one reaching out, always the one planning, always the one making sacrifices, while he's doing the bare minimum, then baby, it's time to stop dreaming and start deciding. Decide to want more. Decide to expect more. Decide to receive the kind of love that matches the love you give. Because when it's real, it's not one-sided. It's not all imagination. It's mutual. And it's clear. Let me tell you something that might save you years of heartache. You cannot keep holding on to a man's potential while ignoring his patterns. That's not love, that's denial. That's you loving who he could be instead of accepting who he keeps showing you he is. And I know that's hard to hear because you see the good in him. You see how sweet he can be when he tries. You remember how he held you that one night when you were crying, how he looked at you like you were the only woman in the room. You saw glimpses. But listen to me, glimpses don't build a relationship. Consistency does. See, potential is what we hope someone will become. It's that vision we hold in our hearts when we think if he just changes this one thing, if he just matures a little, if he just lets go of his past, then maybe we could really have something. But while you're waiting on maybe, his patterns are already speaking the truth. And the truth is he's not stepping up. He's not growing. He's not choosing you the way you keep choosing him. Patterns are what a man does repeatedly. It's the behavior he shows you over and over again. Maybe he disappears when things get tough. Maybe he says he's going to change, but never does. Maybe he gives you just enough to keep you from walking away, but not enough to give you the relationship you deserve. And every time he slips, you tell yourself, but I know he has a good heart. Baby, good hearts don't make bad habits okay. And a man's potential doesn't erase the pain his patterns keep causing you. Let's be real. You're not confused. You're disappointed. Because deep down, you already know who he is. You've seen it in the late night arguments, the broken promises, the empty apologies, and still you hold on because you think, if I just love him harder, he'll become better. But let me tell you, you can't love a man into maturity. You can't love him into healing. You can't be his therapist, his cheerleader, and his second chance all at once. That's not your job. Your job is to protect your peace, not to be his project. The thing is, potential will charm you. It'll whisper sweet nothings like he just needs time or he's never felt love like this before. But patterns don't lie. Patterns are the reality check. And if his pattern is to disappear when you need him most, to dismiss your feelings, to keep making the same mistakes while promising he's different, That's not growth. That's just a man stuck in the same cycle. And you're stuck in it with him because you keep believing in what could be instead of walking away from what already is. You've got to stop building a future with the version of him that only exists in your imagination. That version isn't showing up for you. That version isn't answering your calls when you're breaking down. That version isn't making plans, setting goals, or honoring your worth. And the longer you hold on to potential, the more you rob yourself of real love. Love that's present, consistent, and emotionally available. Love that doesn't have to be explained or defended. Love that shows up and stays. At some point, you have to choose facts over feelings. You have to look at the evidence, not the excuses. You have to recognize that if a man has had chance after chance to do better and he doesn't, that's not potential. That's a pattern. And patterns don't change because you want them to. They change when he decides to grow. Until then, all you're doing is breaking your own heart in slow motion. So stop ignoring what's right in front of you. Potential might look pretty, but patterns tell the truth. And the truth is what you need to pay attention to if you want something real. Let me break it down for you. When a man is serious about a woman, he doesn't play the background. He doesn't watch her from the sidelines. He doesn't sit there silent, letting confusion take over while she's out here wondering where she stands. No, ma'am. A man who's serious will step up, step in, and make his intentions clear. He ain't hiding. He's present. He's active. He's consistent. See, there's a big difference between a man who's curious about you and a man who's committed to you. The curious man might look your way, check in every now and then, say all the right things when it benefits him, but he's not showing up. He's not investing time. He's not bringing peace into your life. He's just hanging around, half in, half out. And too many women confuse that as he's just shy or he's figuring things out. No, that's a man who's comfortable being close enough to keep your attention, but not close enough to take responsibility. A real man, a man who's ready, who sees your value, who knows what you bring to the table, he's not going to leave you guessing. He's not going to let days go by without reaching out. He's not going to let your mind run wild, wondering if you're too much, too emotional, or not enough. Nah, a man like that is going to be intentional. He's going to communicate. He's going to show up, not disappear. Because when a man is serious, he doesn't need to be begged for presence. He gives it freely. Now, let me tell you why some men stay quiet. Some men stay silent because they like the benefit of your love without the responsibility that comes with it. They like knowing you'll pick up the phone when they finally decide to call. They like the attention, the support, the affection, but they don't want to put in the work. And silence becomes their shield. If they don't say much, they don't have to be accountable. If they keep you in the gray area, they don't have to commit. That's not love. That's emotional manipulation. Silence can be a form of control. It keeps you leaning in. It keeps you chasing. It keeps you trying to figure him out. Meanwhile, he's doing the bare minimum, and you're out here writing novels in your mind about what he might feel. But the truth is, if he's not saying it and he's not showing it, then it ain't real. Don't fall in love with someone's potential to speak. Fall in love with actions, with clarity, with consistency. A man who's for you will not hesitate. He won't be silent when you need reassurance. He won't be distant when you need support. He'll step into your life and make space for you and his. He'll include you in his plans. He'll speak your name proudly. You won't have to chase him down, question his loyalty, or wonder if he's playing games. You'll know, because a serious man doesn't leave room for doubt. You weren't created to sit on the bench waiting to be chosen. You're not someone a man should figure out when it's convenient. You're a whole blessing, And a man who recognizes that won't leave you hanging. He won't be satisfied being a background character in your life while you treat him like the lead. He'll step up, not step back. He'll speak up, not stay silent. So stop making room for men who stay on the sidelines. If he's not stepping in, if he's not speaking up, if he's not showing you clearly that he wants you, then he's not for you. A man who's serious makes you feel seen, heard, chosen every day, not just when it's easy.